Hello everyone, Joseph Dunphy here, and this is your weekly Grass10 grazing management update on the dairy edge. PastureBase data for the week: the average farm cover 807 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and cover per livestock unit up slightly to 273 kilos of dry matter per livestock unit. Growth of 44 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and demand of 42 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Pre-grazing yield is sitting at 1,366 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and again the diet has remained stagnant, about 13 kilos of grass and about 5 kilos of supplement going in. Dry matter percentages are 15% in Athenry, County Galway, 20% in Grange, County Meath, 17% in Moorpark, County Cork, and 20% in Oak Park, County Carlow. Your predicted grass growth, rainfall, and soil temperatures for the coming 7 days. Growth rates are expected to drop back with cooler airflow over the coming 7 days. There's also the double whammy of parts of the south and the east still experiencing soil moisture deficits. So growth rates are largely expected to be in around 40 kilos of dry matter for the west and the southwest, and again a range of between 25 to 40 for the east. Average soil temperatures are expected to drop back to be between 11 and 12 degrees Celsius with the cooler airflow this week. Predicted rainfall is high, with between 30 and 40 millimetres of rain expected for the vast amount of the country for the coming 7 days, which in general parts of the south and the east are looking for. Your Grass10 tips for the week: the PastureBase data shows that 50% have a farm cover of less than 800 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and this is behind target for this time of the year. The aim for these farms now is to hold farm cover here for the next 5 to 6 weeks. Those with reasonable growth rates of greater than 50 kilos of dry matter per hectare still have the opportunity to build some grass, so continue to focus on keeping the 15 to 20 kilos of dry matter per hectare per day of a difference between growth and demand to build your average farm cover. As we said already, some farms, particularly in the east and southeast, are struggling with growth rates less than 30 kilos of dry matter per hectare due to the soil moisture deficits, and there's a lot of supplementary feed going in on these farms. As we move closer to the final rotation, the farm should be set up for a 40-day rotation. It's important to fill the feed gap with meal and or silage to hold this rotation at 40 days. All farmers should create a feed budget for the remainder of the grazing season on PastureBase Ireland to help plan out your grazings, and most importantly to help you to hit the closing cover target of greater than 700 kilos of dry matter per hectare that you set out for your farm on the 1st of December. A quick sum to figure out grass allowance for your farm for the next couple of weeks is to divide the growth rate by your current stocking rate. So we'll take an example: a farm with 100 cows and a milking platform size of 33 hectares with a current growth rate of 40 kilos of dry matter per hectare. So the growth rate of 40 kilos of dry matter per hectare divided by 3 livestock units per hectare is a grass allowance of 13.5 kilos. And we fill the balance of the diet with meal and silage. Doing this calculation every week will hold average farm cover on your farm. And there's a link in this week's Grass10 newsletter to a tutorial video on how to use the feed budgeting tool on PastureBase. Advice on remaining nutrient application: as we know, the chemical N and P fertiliser deadline has passed. There's still an opportunity to apply K and lime with the current excellent ground conditions on farm. Apply K to Index 2 grazing paddocks and ground that has been cut for silage. Apply 1 bag per acre of MOP 0050. There's still some slurry remaining in tanks on some farms. Dilute down and spread now with less at a rate of 1,500 to 2,000 gallons per acre before the deadline next Monday. Soil water collected in yard tanks should be spread on paddocks as they are grazed from the 1st of October. This week's featured farmer is Evan Hunt from Tubbercurry in County Sligo. Evan Hunt held his Grassland Farmer of the Year farm walk as winner of the Young Farmer category in the competition last year. Evan's average farm cover is 1,027 kilos of dry matter per hectare. The cover per livestock unit is 419 kilos of dry matter per livestock unit, so a huge amount of grass on farm. Growth rates are 54 kilos of dry matter per hectare per day. Demand is down at 29 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Pre-grazing yield is at 1,700 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and milk yield is currently at 15 litres with fat at 547 and protein at 427. The excellent weather last week has really transformed Evan's farm, as grazing conditions had been tricky with all the rain in late August. Even though the weather was dry, last week. I fed hard with 4 kilos of bale silage along with 4 kilos of meal, and my farm cover has increased from 850 to 1027 kilos of dry matter per hectare, which sets me up well for the autumn. Cows are still on 12-hour allocations. If you would like to hear more from the Grass10 team, subscribe to the weekly Grass10 newsletter, which is available on the Grass10 page on the Teagasc public website, and the link to the newsletter is also available in the description of this podcast. This has been your Grass10 update, and I'll talk to you all next week.